Today it's all about the Healey overdrive gear. This is the gear, the overdrive part is in here and has planetary gear with one level. The overdrive connects when the fourth gear is engaged, which you can inject with this switch and if the rotation speed is injected high enough. It is simple but it works. The overdrive gear operates over a press key of the two cylinders which are in here. In addition, the gear has an oil pump. If you put a bit effort in the lighting, you can see that in the back the pump goes up and down. This is a simple stick, a piston in a cylinder, which eventually has an eccentric, which will be driven in the gear over a roller and goes up and down. Of course, this is energized with oil and technically the oil is being compressed when it goes down and comes out at this point where the hole is. But there is a canal in which the oil goes further in and will be pushed into the main chamber and comes out at the main chamber if everything goes right. The hole at the front is normally tight because of this siphon, which goes in and out by every oil pressure. Because of that, the oil only goes in one direction but doesn't run back. This is closed over a ball, this here. The ball sits inside and closes the canal. At insertion of the ball will be inserted by a sledge to assure the perfect hold. The oil pushes out the cylinder when it arrives. These are the detailed parts of the Healey overdrive hydraulics. This is the plunger oil pump, which will be going up and down by the shaft of the gearbox. There is an X center and the plunger is going up and down. At each stroke, this ball will go inside pressed against the spring and the oil will go here this way to the piston. And at each stroke, this piston will be compressed against this spring inside of this tank. If this ball is not fitting well into the seat, the pressure will go out of the tank in the wrong direction. So it is very important to check the seat of the ball. The size of the ball is 1/4. The piston then will be compressed against the spring until the final position, and then the oil pressure is very high here inside, and if the overdrive will be released, this valve, push rod, will go in a higher position and will be pressed against a spring here. The diameter of this ball is 5/8 of an inch. And the oil will go through this way to the operating pistons, and the operating pistons are here. And this operating piston will stop the annulus of the planet gear. If that happens, the fifth gear is released and everything is fine. This is a cylinder, but not that one that goes back and forth, but the oil comes exactly to here at the drilling and pushes the cylinder out and to the back. The cylinder looks like this, but this one is already worn out. In this cylinder is a spring, which will be compressed by this cylinder and builds up a pressure. Here is the constellation. The spring with a small plug and this stud, which allows the pressure or not because of special drillings. It is electrically driven and goes in and out. After that, it activates this axle here, which goes through to the other side. And on the other side, it activates a lift at the bottom of the oil pressure release valve. The diameter of this ball is 5/8 of an inch. At the moment when the valve switches, the oil is being approved so that the oil pushes the two cylinders which pull together the brake straps and will so stop the planet gear. The gear reduction is another one, and so the fifth gear is engaged. That is how the overdrive system works. The cause of defects are versatile, for example the pump. It can be the issue that the pump doesn't work properly because it is used and worn out. Another problem could be that the oil is too viscous, so it has to be filled in with normal engine oil. Another problem could be that, like here, the cylinder sits steady and permanent in his housing, so there is no movement and no pressure will be built up. You can measure the pressure by attaching a manometer. It can be that there is water inside. Water often reaches up through this opening. It is practically a water receiver. If you don't cover the opening with some rubber, the water comes through the opening and the oil is going to be a mess.